Hi guys. So this is really random. I'm not a YouTuber or anything like that, but I had a few hours free and I was thinking this time last year I was like auditioning for colleges, like just sort of starting to audition and like getting ready for them and stuff. And I remember I watched a lot of videos of like things that would help, like sort of advice and like what to prepare and things like that, and I found it really helpful and it's like quite a big thing, so I thought I would do a little video. I mean, it was a year ago, so I don't, like, I should remember a lot but might miss some things, but yeah, I don't even know if anyone will watch this, but I kind of just thought it would also be nice to look back on like when I'm like 80. Also, sorry, that's fireworks, so sorry about that noise, but yeah. And I just thought I'd make a little video sort of like what I learned, what like sort of I did and I felt worked well, and what I'd heard like advice wise, and just yeah, any other little tips and things. Obviously I'm not a professional or anything close to that, but I have like been through it. I guess if anyone is like auditioning like this year or next year, then it might be helpful. And yeah, I'm not gonna like share my like opinion on like colleges and stuff because I think it's quite personal to you. Like what is right for me might not necessarily be right for somebody else, but I'm just gonna sort of share like my experience. So I'll go back like right to the start. My first sort of place where I like started to find out about college and stuff was probably Move It, which is in March, so it's a bit of a like awkward timing for things like that when I was in first year, so I would have auditioned the following year, if that makes sense, like school year, not year. So I sort of just went around like chatting to as many like colleges that were there, picking up all the leaflets and the free bags, and I literally just went home with a massive thing of bags and leaflets and stuff and took that home with me. And then, to be fair, I honestly just put it in a cupboard, and then when it was a little bit further down the line, probably I'd say probably pre like summer of me going into second year, I sort of started looking at colleges, and they started at college, that's when they started like talking about it. So I did a BTEC in musical theatre, and so when I was looking for there, I sort of had sort of an idea of some of the colleges which existed, and I'd heard, I knew like from Instagram I guess, and people I knew like had gone to different ones, so I'd already sort of been like a bit familiar with them. And obviously once I was at that college, like I'd heard of people in the year above who'd gone to different places. But I think right from the start I knew I just sort of wanted to like, sort of take away other people's opinions and what they might have said about college and sort of make up my own mind. I just like got a big notebook, and I don't know if I have the notes anymore, I probably threw them away, but I basically just got all the notes and I wrote down every college, all the little notes I could find in the leaflet, so like how much it was to go there, like what sort of training they offer and things like that. And then I sort of just, yeah, got all them on there. And then also if there was some which I knew weren't on there, I'd also go onto their websites and have a little look on there too. And I'd also, there was a few colleges I knew of that weren't a Move It, so I also went on those websites too. And then so I sort of had this sort of just massive list, and I had to have a bit of an idea, and then I started looking at open days, finding the dates and they had open days, and just signing up to as many colleges as possible, like even the random ones I'd not really heard of as much. And I just wanted to like sort of see vibe, like get a sort of vibe of what I wanted. And also I think throughout the whole time I just wanted to like try to speak to as many people, like whether they were already in the industry or whether they were at college, just to see sort of like their like experiences with it and like what their opinions were on things, because I tried to take it like as a pinch of salt because everyone has their own like experiences and opinions, but also it's good to know different things because it can help you too. So there's a firework. So yeah, and then so yeah, I went to a few open days. I think I went to, my first one was Erdang. I went like, I think maybe like, yeah, June of like first year. And then I think I went to most other ones sort of like September, October of second year. So that was like 2020, 3, I think. And yeah, and then at that point it got to September and we were at college, like I was sort of like signing up for different audition, like as many as possible. I did 9 auditions, which is a little bit extra, like you don't have to do that, but I found it was beneficial to me because I wanted to just get more of an experience of auditioning, and also I didn't have my heart set on anywhere particularly at that time. I just wanted to get the experience, like try as many as possible, because I kind of treated the auditions as open days and just, yeah, like get the experience of auditioning and whatever happened happened sort of thing. I also wrote out a pros and cons list for every college. Once I'd been to the open days, sort of personal opinion and also like fact things. So like if it was a really expensive college, I'd be like, maybe like whatever. I also went to a few like experience day. I think Lane did like an audition experience day, so I did that, which was, I didn't actually end up auditioning for Lane, but it was really helpful, and like I feel like I learned a lot from that. Another thing to add is I also wrote down each college's requirement of what you needed to get in, and also what you needed to audition. So for example, a song, a monologue, a dance, whatever. Something I found really helpful was, I don't know if you know Lucy Stewart-Adams, but she went to Urtown like quite a while back, but she has, and I'm going to talk about her again in a minute, but she's got these sheets online. You can fill them in, and it's like you write a drama school, you write pros and cons you found out about it, like once you've been to the open day, what you need for the audition, and then also when you've got the audition was once you booked it, and different things like that. And I found that so helpful just to have that piece of paper and have one for every college. And it's a bit extra, you probably don't need it, but I found it quite handy, so I'll link it if I can work out how to do that. I was lucky in the fact that I had my college to help me, sort of guide me, and also people that I knew in second year. I could ask them questions and things. Over the summer we had to do like our personal statement and all the like academic sort of things, and then when it got to September is when it cut out, but that's supposed to say we started to prepare for the auditions. So I'm not going to talk about like the prep of like getting ready for auditions. So yeah, I'd have sort of written down what I needed for each one. So I don't know when I sort of started prepping. I sort of started looking over summer, I think, because I knew for most colleges you needed to have a legit song, and I could either like a contrasting one or like a contemporary one. So with finding songs, I looked through my massive musical theatre playlist and just found songs, and then I just tried to find different musicals. I spoke to people. I also watched Lucy Stewart-Adams, who I mentioned earlier's videos. She has a lot of, definitely go and check out Lucy's channel. It was quite a while ago she made all these videos, but I found it so handy. She has so many like song suggestions and things like that, so definitely go and look on that. One thing I would say is definitely, if you can, just have like a backup song for each category. I didn't need one like for mine, but I think it's just good to have one just in case. Like you want to be like as prepared as possible, so just have a backup song, like so 4 songs, maybe even 5, just in case. Like it's better to just be prepared. So I mean, I'm not really a pro at singing or anything like that, but this is sort of what I learned and discovered like when picking my songs and things like that. So if you're not as confident with singing or something, definitely try and invest, if you're able to, in a few singing lessons, even if it's like just to help with your confidence, and like just put yourself out forward for things, like just sing in front of your mum or whatever, just to get yourself more confident, because the more confident you can be, the better you'll be when it comes to auditioning. From what I like can remember being told is like to pick a song not too overdone, because I think unless you are literally like Beyonce or something like that, like when you're hearing a song like a certain amount of times a day, you're gonna like, as a panel, you're gonna unintentionally like compare them. But I did a fine line from Avenue Q, which is definitely like, people know it, and I just felt it showed off my voice, but it also didn't challenge me to the point where I was like, I felt comfortable doing it. But yeah, I definitely did struggle to get into the character at first, so I had to do a lot of sort of like work to find that, and I think I did eventually. But yeah, I think at times it was definitely just the adrenaline that made me go into the character. But yeah, so that was my contemporary song, which was contrasting to my legit song. For my legit song, I did Lazy from Once Upon a Mattress. I actually did Shy from Once Upon a Mattress, not Lazy. I don't know why I said that. Which I'd not heard of it before, like probably should have heard of it before, but I really liked it because it was a really charactery song. It was quite comical, and it wasn't too legit sounding. I don't know if that's a technical word, but yeah, and I felt I could sort of show off my voice to a degree and not sound like I was dying. So yeah, legit is definitely something that I've got to work on. We've been doing a lot of it at college now, so I just got a few singing lessons, and also I was lucky because I had my college to help too, and then I just continued to work on those. I also had a backup song of Out Here on My Own from Fame, and I had something else, but I cannot even tell you what I had. I'll get back to you on that one. We also had these character sheets, so it asks all these different questions about these characters, and I just fill them in for each song, do a bit of research on the show. If I could, I watched Once Upon a Mattress on awful quality on YouTube, like at some like bootleg on YouTube, and I don't think I could find Avenue Q everywhere, so I just had to do a bit more research on that. But definitely, that's one thing, just do as much research as you can on your songs, because if you can really get a connection to it, you'll find it so much easier to perform. And yeah, and also just get as much advice as you can on it. Ask as many different people, because that really helped me. For the dance side, there was only a few colleges I was actually asked to perform a solo dance. Definitely have one prepared just in case. So I originally had one with more sort of commercial jazz vibe that I choreographed myself, and then I sort of decided it probably just wasn't right for audition, so I choreographed another one to All Falls Down from Charlie Chaplin, and I just, because my friend was gonna do it as an audition song, like singing, and I just loved it, so I was like, I'm gonna do dance to this. And I really enjoyed choreographing dances, so I choreographed my own. But equally, I know some people did get people to choreograph like them for them, but definitely I think one thing is you get told to like put loads of kicks and turns in it, but honestly don't push it. Like, do things that show you off, but also if you think you can do, like, show off your style more, like do that, because I think they don't want to see, like, if you're not as confident with turns, like, don't put in a turn, like do something you're confident with and just have fun with it. Like, I think that is my biggest thing, like, with the whole audition thing. Just enjoy it, because it's just an experience. Like, not everyone gets to like do, like, if you're like a normal uni student, you don't get to do an audition. Just like go in and have a little dance to get you into a college. Like, it's completely different, so just have fun with it. Like, I know some of them you do have to pay for, but definitely just treat it as a free class, if nothing else. I just want to add that I also did as many free auditions as possible, because I thought, well, it's just a free class, like, it's a good experience. I obviously had to pay for some, and I know it's so expensive, but if you're able to just do the free ones, like, definitely do it just for the experience, and you might end up loving it. So yeah, I had my solo, and I just spoke to a few people, got some notes on it and things like that, and worked on it, and just filmed it myself doing it, gave myself notes. Also, obviously, you're most likely gonna have to do a dance class of some sort. It's quite often ballet or jazz, sometimes commercial. Again, just enjoy it, just have fun, like, just because if they can see you're enjoying it, they'll enjoy watching you. So yeah, and I think if you're able to get to class, like open classes in London or whatever, just go, because it's so good to be taught by like a massive range of teachers. Because obviously a lot of people might come from like a dance school or like wherever, where they've just been taught by the same person for quite a long time. So just go to as many get taught by as many teachers as possible, get to know people. Again, when you go to the classes, just ask for all like advice, like, because they've probably been through it, the people that are teaching, so just speak to them at the end, say if they have any advice or like any colleges they'd recommend and things like that. And also just the whole experience of class, like I think going to open classes as a whole really helped in my confidence, and it helped me to get to know people that were not only very nice but also taught me a lot as well, and I'm really grateful for that. So yeah, just get to class, like places like the Manor, Pineapple, Base, whatever, and just get to know people and go to as many classes if you're able to as possible. For the acting side, acting was probably the thing I was least experienced in, and I found it so hard to find a monologue. I'll show you. Went to the National Theatre Library because I heard that that is quite a good place to go and find monologue books, and I looked through, I was looking everywhere in all the books and stuff, and then this is probably not great, but I would then find it on Amazon or eBay and get it a bit cheaper because it's so expensive in there. And I got these two books. So yeah, definitely go to the National. You don't even have to buy the book, you can literally just look in the library. I don't think you're technically allowed to take a photo, but I don't know. But yeah, just look in the National Theatre, or just go to your local library. But yeah, I really struggled to find monologues, even though I had these in the end. I was lucky because at my college they had a monologue book as well, so I was looking all through that, and honestly, like I just spent so long reading through, and I was like, I'm really just not connecting to anything. And I think it's hard because like you're at an age where like monologues for teenagers are often literally just like about like death, or they're just about like boys, and it's just either of them wasn't really something I wanted to do my monologue on. So I eventually found one, which probably, oh, I forgot to say, I also had to do two, because for my Emilda audition I needed a Shakespeare monologue too, and that one I found really easy to find, because I found out that Romeo and Juliet actually isn't that overdone, because I think everyone thinks it is. So I actually ended up doing Juliet because, yeah, and I really enjoyed it. It starts with "Thou knowest the mask of night is on my face." That one, if you know that one. And yeah, I'll go back and talk about that more. But when I was finding my contemporary monologues, I think most of them want a contemporary monologue. I eventually picked Shakers, yeah. It was Nikki's part. And honestly, if I was doing my auditions again, I probably wouldn't pick that. Because I ended up finding out it was actually, a lot of people do it for A-level, so apparently it's quite overdone, and like it also just didn't really flow that well, I don't think. But it was alright, but I probably wouldn't pick it again. Yeah, and I think personally, I think if you do something funny, I do think they enjoy that a bit more, because you do get a lot of like ones about death and like deep ones, and I think something a bit more light-hearted might work, but I don't know, it's everyone's own opinion. When it came to working on my monologue, I obviously was at college, so I was lucky that there was a whole acting department, so I'd just go and speak to all the different acting teachers, and they all helped me with my monologue. And what I found interesting was a lot of them said different things, so I sort of tried out the different things of what they would say. Some of them would say opposing things, like one person would say, oh, use a chair, one person would say don't use a chair, like different little things like that. And I sort of wrote this all down and then kind of decided what felt more right for me, and it was just really good to get like an insight from so many different people. Yeah, so I found that really helpful. one thing I actually found out whilst doing it, which I made the mistake of, is try not to learn your monologue before learning the acting, if that makes sense, because I found myself, I got into a lot of habits and I would read it out, I would say it at the same time each time because I'd learnt it in a certain way. So I think if you can sort of learn the acting, it's definitely better because then you don't get into any habits. Because I also learnt that it's good to do it differently each time. You want it to be fresh and like raw and like natural rather than to like and like posed. So that is definitely one big thing that I learned from doing it. Same goes with singing too, like don't do it, like I think you want it to be natural and like come from like a place here rather than just like what you remember that you did last time. I think that's really important to like showing that you've thought more like in depth about it rather than just being like, do you know what I mean? I'm gonna talk a bit more like in depth of like my actual auditions and sort of my experience and sort of anything else I can sort of think of. Again, I'm not gonna like go too much in depth about my like opinion on the colleges because I don't think it's really my business to say. I think it's very like dependent on what you're looking for in a college. And yeah, I think definitely look at their graduates, look at programs and shows, see what where they've all gone to, but also remember that the bigger colleges will have more successful graduates, so that's definitely something to like take note of. So yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean they're a better college, but I don't know. And yeah, just ask people. First audition was probably about this time last year. It was called JGH Academy in Canterbury and it was a really small college. It was, I honestly wasn't expecting it, but I got there and I was actually the only person auditioning, and it took me a while to actually realise it. But yeah, I was just in a class with all of other people who already went to the college, and yeah, so I went in and I did little vocal warm up in the car because luckily it's not too far from where I live, so my mum took me, and yeah, and then we did a physical warm up. And oh, one more thing, tape in your sheet music, get sheet music, and like let me show you. So make sure that you have all of your sheet music for all of your songs, and I think you can get folders, but I think I was told that it was probably better to tape it. So get this thing called Scotch tape. I'm not going to do the whole ins and outs of how you do it, but it's called Scotch tape, and basically you just tape it backwards and leave a little gap so that it's folded, and just put it all together because I think the pianist just likes it if they can have it out like this, or if they can have it folded and like use it as a book. So definitely do that because I know there were some people who like maybe didn't have theirs taped, and I think it does look a bit messy. Just make sure you got it all neat and bring a little folder. Maybe print off 2 of each sheet music just in case. Put it in a separate folder just in case, I don't know, you spill water on it or whatever, you just know you've got a spare one. My first audition, I went in and then yeah, I was just doing classes with the rest of the college, which is definitely unexpected, but I just tried to like have a good time, you know. They were actually all really lovely. Yeah, and then I was so scared. I did my song and I hadn't had a chance to practice with a pianist with my songs. I was like, oh my god, like, and luckily it actually went okay, but I was also really ill that day. Another thing, if you're ill, just get an early night, drink as much water as possible, like all that stuff. I drink hot water like every morning and I find that really helps. But yeah, just if you're ill, don't let it like defeat you, but just do what you can. Really, I didn't go first in the class. There was other people in that class. It was just an acting threesome class and I just joined it. So yeah, but then it was like my audition, so it was a bit weird. But I knew, like, I was told always to go give the, it's only little things, but I think it's all the little things that really count. So go give, when you give the sheet music to the pianist, like, go behind the piano. Don't like just give it to them, because I think it can come across as a bit rude, because always remember that the pianist is just as much as a person and can potentially have just as much as a say in your outcome of your audition as the actual panel. So that goes for all auditions. And also when you're counting, they'll normally ask you sort of the tempo of the music, and I think don't click, like, I don't know if it's true, but I've just heard it can come across a bit rude, so just like tap, or like, I can't remember if they said clapping was good or bad, but just do a little tap maybe. Just, yeah, be a bit careful with clicking, because I think it can come across as a bit rude. But yeah, just, and the pianist will usually, if it's a good pianist, follow you with the music, so that should be all okay. And yeah, so at this audition I also did a ballet class, I think, and a jazz class, and yeah, I just sort of had a fun day really. Next one was TTC. It used to be known as Tiffany Theatre College. I really love this audition. Like, was Phil, who like is a principal, was so nice. He really like got to know everyone on the day, and it was like, I've met like some really nice people there who I like still like speak to and stuff, so it was really nice. And yeah, I did my solo and my monologue and my thing, and also some classes, and I just had a great time that day. Like, I really enjoyed it. My next audition was Bird, and this was like a bit of a last minute decision. That's randomly, I was like, well, I didn't actually go to an open day, but I was like, I have no reason to not audition, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna audition. So I went in, I had my legit song, I had my contemporary song, I had my monologue, and I had, did I have my monologue? I don't know if I had my monologue or not, but, and I had my, oh yeah, I did actually, and I had my solo dance, and then we had classes. I found this was probably one of the longest audition days. There was a lot of waiting around, and I was last on the list, so I was there till the very end, and you kind of lose the adrenaline a little bit, so you just remember to like keep in the zone, but also don't let yourself get too hyped up, because then you'll get overly nervous. But again, just tried to like enjoy it. It was like a sort of like Afro-y dance, which was quite good. And yeah, I definitely found that the hardest out of probably all of my auditions. Another thing is definitely just speak to everyone, like be nice to everyone, like, because everyone's in the same boat. And I know everyone says it, but they are all like as nervous as you. Even the people who seem like all crazy and big and confident, like they probably are. And don't be put off by someone being like crazy good or anything like that, because I think they say a lot, they look for like over talent. They want like hard workers and people that are passionate and have potential. So always remember that, and don't feel like, oh god, like that person's way better than me, like whatever. Yeah, just honestly try, it's so hard, but just try and remove the like comparison of other people, because it will just kill your joy and you won't enjoy auditions. And it's good to enjoy them because you only get to experience it once unless you audition again. But yeah, like college auditions are probably the most chilled auditions that you'll ever get, like in your, like the rest of your life. So my next one was Erdang in January. I did a ballet class, it was quite short though, and then a jazz class, and then my monologue and my song. I definitely did my monologue awful that day. I think I just rushed it too much. That's another thing, definitely don't rush, just breathe. Like, it's honestly, the time is definitely not as slow as it feels. Like, it feels like you're pausing for ages. You're literally like not, you'll literally be like a second in it for like an hour. So yeah, just take as many pauses as possible. I definitely rushed it that day. Another thing is, I think because it was in London, so I did a class after, and that was always find something that you can like treat yourself with or enjoy after, because it's nice to have something to look forward to after an audition, because then it just takes your mind off it a little bit. Yeah, or just get a little sweet treat after you're done, because that's definitely needed and deserved. And the night before, just make sure you're going to bed early, get everything prepared the night before. I, again, on them sheets from Lucy, I literally wrote down what I had to pack for my bag, even though I literally did it ages in advance, just so you know you've got everything. And yeah, just bring 2 sheet music, and also bring a printout of your monologue, because you never know, they might ask for it. And another thing, the character sheets for your monologues, bring that. And same for your songs as well, because I just found it helpful to sort of read through before I went in, just so that I like to familiarise myself. I mean, they're not going to want to see it, but, well, you never know, but they didn't ask me, but just to familiarise yourself with sort of the character and stuff like that before you go in. But equally, don't stress yourself out about it, like don't get too in your head about it, because then you'll get too nervous. So it's kind of like a bit of a balancing act. The next audition was Emile Dale, which I loved. Really liked the vibe. It was definitely, one thing I just remember is it was freezing there. It was so cold. But that was when I did my Shakespeare monologue. When I say I was nervous, when I was actually there, this is another thing, just don't say you're nervous, because it just gets in your head that you're nervous. Just think, I'm excited, or say you're excited, even if you're really not. Just because I think when you speak things aloud, it just makes it nice. I really liked their dance audition, actually. That's probably one of my favourite dance auditions. It was actually not a great week for me, because I'd like injured my foot. I'd pulled like a ligament, so I had to walk in with like blue tape, and the day before I was literally like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it, because I literally couldn't walk. But luckily I was limping around but luckily and it was like the worst time it could happen, because I had 3 auditions that week, but luckily I made it through. I was sort of like, my dad knows a physio person, so she sorted me out, even though I was limping a lot. But yeah, just I guess that's something to just be prepared for, be careful. I think it's because I wore these trainers I don't usually wear to dance in, which probably wasn't the best idea when I knew I had auditions coming up. So just, yeah, little things like that. Just don't do any major changes when you know you've got auditions coming up, I guess. Oh, another thing, just get your auditions like stupidly early. Not stupidly early, but like try and get there with at least like an hour and a half to spare, just because you don't know what could happen. Like, anything can go wrong, and the last thing you want is to be stressing about being late and stuff like that. Like, just get there, and if you get there early, just if you're in the car, sit in the car, or if you're on the train, just go grab, I don't know, don't really want a hot chocolate, because I swear dairy is not great. Although I actually found out dairy is actually fine to have before, but even in my head I still think it's bad. But just get there early as possible, because you don't want to be stressing. So yeah, my Emile Dale audition, there was a recall after, where you just had an interview. It was quite fun. It was just chatty, like just, yeah, be nice. And if you don't get recalled, like, it's literally not even deep. Yeah, that's another thing, like, any rejections, just, it's not even a rejection, it's just like maybe you're not quite ready. Just like, it's like, well, that's not the right place for me, or that's not the right time for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's literally not deep. It has nothing to do with who you are and what kind of performer you are. Next audition was Brighton Academy in Brighton. Yeah, I really enjoyed this day. I again had a really bad foot so I was kind of stressing, but yeah, I was with a few friends that day as well, and yeah, just same sort of thing. I think I did a ballet class, I did my dance, I did jazz solo, singing. I think definitely there they were quite like, they quite often would like just wouldn't react to anything, or they wouldn't even say hi, which fair enough if they're doing that like that many times in a day. Like, I probably wouldn't want to either. But yeah, just don't take it to heart. Like, just get on with it. But yeah, I really enjoyed the day, and it's by the beach, so pretty nice. My next one was Wilkes, so that is actually where I am right now, and they actually did a workshop at my college. I was actually quite lucky, I had quite a few workshops come to my college, and the colleges, so the unis slash colleges would come and visit my college and do little insight workshops, which so yeah, like Wilkes, I honestly, it was actually weird because I almost didn't go to my audition because it was really far away, and at the time I'd heard of some people that like sort of were not enjoying it that went there and go left, so I was like, oh no, like, and I really enjoyed their workshop at college, so I was, when they came to my college, and I was like, like, do I go, do I not, because it was a lot of money to get there as well. But I decided, I spoke to a girl I knew who goes there, and she was like, just try, just go, and I'm so glad I did because I went, and I think I didn't have my heart set on anywhere, particularly when I was auditioning, but I went to Wilkes and I just like got a feeling, like, I think a lot of people say it, but, and it sounds stupid, but like you actually do, like, you just get a vibe of like the place which is right for you, and that's what I felt about Wilkes. Like, I just loved the audition, like it was like, they were all so lovely, like the staff and everything, and like the vibe of the college was really nice, but also you could tell from like Mark Webb, who we have now like as a teacher, we had him for audition, and Josh Denhill as well, but Mark Webb, he is crazy, and he's always like, he's such an inspiration, like he just is so like passionate and stuff, and I think that's probably the biggest thing which I could tell. I mean, obviously a lot of colleges, like teachers are all passionate, but I think particularly here, like they just love it, and it really showed even in the audition. And I just, yeah, and like even the interview, a lot of colleges will have an interview, that's one thing. Just, I think my only advice for the interview, just honestly, like everyone says be yourself, and it sounds like, yeah, whatever, shut up, but yeah, just come in, like, be happy, but don't feel like you've got to force being happy, like, just that you've come to that audition because you're passionate about it, and just show that you are. And yeah, I think just like enjoy it, and be like, don't be thinking, oh god, did I say that, just like have a little chit chat. I think one thing about Wilkes is we literally sat on a sofa with the two like principals, or just sat on a sofa, like having a little chit chat, and it was just so good to like speak to them, and they were so interested in you as well, which you sort of, when they're doing that many people, you wouldn't expect them to be, but, and I just got, yeah, they were so nice as well. Another thing is, when you're auditioning, like, try, especially when in the dance audition, don't be thinking like, what are the panel thinking, like, or what did they think of that, because I think that just makes you get in your head too much. And I know it's so much easier said than done, but I think that's one of the biggest things, is don't be like overthinking about what they're thinking, if that makes sense. But yeah, I just got a vibe, and I honestly didn't think I would get in, because yeah, I just didn't think I would. So when I got the letter, I was like really happy. But, and I still had one more audition after this, and I was still, although I'd got into Wilkes and I knew I loved it, I still wanted to just stay as open as possible to the last place, which was DMB. I'd sort of seen the showcase of DMB, and it was also like quite tightly connected to like my college. I mean, anyone watching this probably knows anyway, but I went to London College of Performing Arts in like Abbeywood, I don't know, South East London, if no one's heard of that, but yeah, it's quite like so closely connected that a lot of the teachers that teach there teach at my college. Yeah, I loved it. I think it was such a good college. I like the level, especially the dancing, is so good. And I watched their showcase, and yeah, I got a really good vibe. I think this is my last audition. I sort of lost the adrenaline of it, which probably wasn't great. I think, yeah, I did struggle to sort of get myself, but I did it, and I really enjoyed it. I think I just got more of a feeling for Wilkes, and I think I guess if you get that feeling, that just probably means it's the right place for you. So, but I also really love D&B, and I definitely recommend it to like anyone. I mean, I haven't gone there myself, but from what I've like heard. So yeah, I can't think of like, you never know, I might end up making another video. And if I think of anything else like audition wise, I'll try and sort of like, yeah, maybe do another video if anyone watches this. But that's sort of like my main like advice that I have. One last thing is, where, I mean, you get told to sort of wear things to stand out, like bright colours and things. I don't even think necessarily that, but if you just have something about you, maybe a style in your hair, like a scrunchie in your hair, just something which makes you stand out a little bit more, is probably good. But again, I don't know. But also, for example, Wilkes, I knew at the time we have to wear all black, so just maybe be wary of that. I think I wore black joggers and a coloured top for my commercial audition, and then I wore all black. You have to wear all black for the the jazz and that, although we did contemporary with Josh Dennett. It was amazing. I actually got really lucky with that because I did Josh's class at the Manor, like the Monday before, and he taught the same choreo. So I actually got so lucky, and that's, to this day, I still think maybe that was the only reason I got in, but I don't know. And like, if you can have your hair like down, or like half up, half down for like singing auditions, I think it just shows like a different side to you that maybe you don't have in the, like, because obviously I think if you're doing ballet, I don't know why I'm showing you, but you'd have a fun and you'd have a ponytail or whatever. Yeah, also have a ponytail for jazz. I think that's one thing, like don't keep your hair in a bun for ballet, for jazz, because I think it just, I don't know, it's a personal opinion, but I think, yeah, definitely put in a ponytail for jazz if you can. That's just, I feel like it just gives a bit more character. But yeah, I think that's about everything that I can think of. And yeah, my biggest thing would just be enjoy it. Don't get your heart set on anywhere. Just be open to all the different things. And also, if you don't like get in anywhere, like it's literally so fine. There's so many other options. Like, yeah, it's literally not a life or death situation. So just have fun with it. Oh yeah, and a quick little thing about where I'm at Wilkes right now. I'm like still in my first year. I literally love it. Like, I think the training is so good. I think one thing I was worried about was the acting and singing side, because I had heard it was a little bit, they had a slightly less acting and singing lessons, but I think particularly this year they've really like, we've got a lot more acting and singing lessons, and I feel like I'm learning a lot, which is so good, whilst the dancing is also like really like, I just feel like I'm learning so much and I just love it. Like, it's definitely challenging, but it's like a really good challenge, so I'm really grateful for that. And then wait, I'll show you, this is my living space. Just my little setup there. I live in a flat at the moment with 7 other girls. This is an edit, but I just thought I'd say like a couple of things about like in the like dance audition, like when you go in groups, like if you do a group, so you've just finished your dance, make sure that you don't like run off, like stay on until they say okay, thank you, because there's definitely been times when people have like, they've run off and then they're just like, oh, okay then, well, so yeah, make sure you like stay on until they say okay, thank you, next group, because you never know, they might say can we go again, or something like that, and you don't want to miss that opportunity. So, and I mean, definitely talk to people in the class, but also remember to stay like in your zone, because you don't want to be a robot. Don't be a robot, but also, this is what I've been told anyway, don't be a robot, but also stay like, whatever the word is, and just make sure you're like on your A games. You know, if they say like go in a certain position, like make sure you know where you're going. That's something I really struggle with. So yeah, just make sure you like know where you're going. And if there's corner work, always be ready, waiting to go into the next. Like, don't let them, if they say go in threes and then you can only see the two people, even if you're really far, well, within reason, just go there to fix your fill in, because if you're a smart dancer, then that's a good thing. So yeah, and that is definitely something I don't have naturally, so I'm trying to get better. But yeah, I also learned, like, ask questions, but don't, like, say they've just taught the choreo and then straight after you put your hand up and say, what's this arm, like, give them a chance. And then if they say, oh, has anyone got any questions, maybe a little bit later. And yeah, and also just keep listening, because someone else might ask the same question as what you've got, and you don't want to miss that and then ask the same question, because then it'll look like you haven't been listening. So yeah, don't know what that noise was, it just came out of my mouth. But yeah, that's a few things in class. And I don't know if anyone has watched this, but if you have, like, feel free to like ask me any questions. I'll put my Instagram somewhere there. And yeah, hopefully if you made it to the end, then you enjoyed. So yeah, thanks.